Hello, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to another week. Happy Sunday. Good to see everybody here in the chat. Always nice to see where you're coming from. Looks like we have a pretty good crowd spread across a wide area today. It's always fun. If you're new here, welcome. If you are one of the regulars, welcome. And make sure that if you have a question, start your message with the letter Q so that it filters into my chat column on the screen in front of me here. Otherwise, we're just going to start chatting and see what happens. Yeah, it's been another week. It is been mostly chilly weather in Portland this week, but apparently there's a storm coming and it's going to start pouring down rain. The wind has already picked up here. It's been like pretty chill for the last couple days, but I can hear the wind picking up and it is, yeah, going to be a storm. Lots of rain also. So that'll be fun. How is everybody been doing? What were we doing last week? Oh, yeah, last week I was playing with a Palm Pilot. That was fun. I'm still waiting for the serial adapter to come. Otherwise, before I can like actually install stuff, but it does boot up. So that at least there's that. If you are a channel member, then you hopefully found the stream yesterday where I caught up on my accounting for the channel. Always fun doing the books, but got to see all the last months of income from YouTube, AdSense, Amazon affiliate links, etc., and then how much money I spent and how we're doing for the year overall. So yeah, that was fun. That's a member's perk. Been doing those for the last couple of months now, and it's also a way to keep me accountable, no pun intended, for actually doing my books, which is good. And yeah, I do have a couple of things left to sell from my used gear category. So if you are in the US and are looking for a good deal on some stuff that I have used in the past that I have found myself not really using anymore, I just dropped a link in the chat to my shop, which has links to microphones, and mostly microphones, some cameras on here as well. I saw like the Sony cameras available. So if you're looking to pick up a good deal on something, there's a few things left, and I would love to get a couple more of these things out of here before the end of the year. Expecting rain all day tomorrow over on the other side of the country. Cold in Nashville, below 40. Ooh, yeah. How has it been a week already? I know, right? IT Never Gets Old says, now it just looks like it never gets old. Says, picked up a couple of the Stream Deck XL modules. Now imagining an enclosure system that would allow for dynamic assembly of a matrix of Stream Decks in a 1x4 or 2x2 or 1x2. Any thoughts? That sounds like a good job for a 3D printer, right? The Stream Deck XL module, that's the, let me see if I can find the, oh, B&H has it. Yeah, this is very, very cool. It looks like it has more buttons. Maybe it's because the weird shape. I'll drop the link into this. This is a B&H link. Stream Deck XL module. Yeah, it is very cool. So it's just the button and screen component of the Stream Deck, but no, like nothing, no case, no like stuff underneath it. So I forget the interface. Is it only USB? It must be only USB, yeah. But I don't remember where the port is on it. They're not really showing us. Can you tell me where the port is? They don't have enough pictures. Is it like on the top or is it on the bottom or on the back or something? Huh. Yeah. Anyway, it's to make your own control surfaces. So build it into a desk or stack a bunch of them together, and it seems like a good job for the 3D printer to make a sort of thing that you could slot these into. But I don't have any of these. It would be interesting to experiment to do, but I don't have any of them myself yet. USB-C is underneath. Okay, so interesting. I guess that means you could butt them up against each other, like to make a grid of them. It'd be kind of cool. Tom Buck got a Bamboo 3D printer, has been 3D printing for like 45 hours straight. I was just skimming through his video this morning. It's a nice looking printer, I will say. I might have to get something like that myself when I get the shed built. Can't do that in here yet. No room left. Back left an inch from the edge, about halfway between the top and bottom, if I remember correctly. Cool. I really wish RØDECaster video supported RGB color profile properly instead of just YUV. Is that for like webcam inputs? The webcam inputs on it are definitely a bit picky, which is a bummer because there's a couple of webcams I would love to use with it that don't work. It's very confusing now that YouTube doesn't show me names, and I don't know always how. And when the usernames are all lowercase, I can't tell which are the words and which are letters and which are like, yeah. Anyway, can you confirm if the ATEM Mini Extreme Gen 2 can bring cameras remotely like the ATEM Studio HD8? That is what I heard. I did hear that. I don't have one yet to actually confirm, but we should be able to at least go look at the tech specs page and look for the feature there, which would be called something like something on the inputs. Interesting. It doesn't mention it on the. Well, that's HDMI video inputs. Total video inputs 9. Wait, did it have 2 Ethernet ports? I didn't realize that. 1 gig and 10 gig. I actually didn't realize that. Yeah, I can't find it in the specs page, but that is what I heard. Oh, wait, maybe it's down here. Nope. Streaming sources. There it is. That's what it is. Up to 8 sources. So, yes. So, map to inputs in software control settings. So, yes, that sounds like it works just like the big HD8. Up to 8. So, you can remap your 8 inputs to streaming sources or HDMI ports, which is very cool. I feel like they have a lot of stuff up their sleeve with this, and we have not yet seen the full picture unfold yet. So I think probably at NAB this year, they're gonna next year they're going to. I'm hoping things come together a little bit better there. This could also be, they put the 10G in for 2110. That would be very interesting because they haven't mentioned 2110 with that product at all yet. Is there any chance for you to do a RØDECaster video explaining how to bring guests using Zoom or other providers? There's no single tutorial on YouTube. Actually, yes. Funny that you mentioned this. I should try to do this project tomorrow with this in mind of making a video about it because Lily is out of town this week at a conference, and she is out of town during her normal live stream time and still wants to do a live stream. So what I'm going to do is actually use the RØDECaster video that's upstairs in her studio and essentially bring her in as a remote guest. So I sent her away with just a webcam. It's actually a new one that I haven't like properly even tested other than plugging it in quickly. Let me find it really quick. It is the Hollyland Lyra. It's a reasonable price. I'm assuming it's like decent quality, but the other cool thing about it, the picture of it that I quickly looked at was like, fine, I should probably do a side-by-side comparison to this thing. The reason I mentioned this YoloCam is because it's a very similar size to the YoloCam. This is the mount for it, so this little thing. It's a very similar size to this. But here's the webcam, Hollyland Lyra. So very similar size to the YoloCam, but the reason that it caught my attention was because it actually has a microphone that pairs with the camera, which seems like a very good feature for the kind of either what we'll be doing, which is using this over Zoom, or using it into like a RØDECaster video. If it supports the RØDECaster video, I'm not sure. I haven't actually plugged it into that yet. Or Magewell Director Mini, YoloBox, things like that. Because then you get the audio brought in through the webcam channel, and it'll be decent audio with a lav mic. And the mic is tiny. It's like smaller than the DJI Mic Mini even. Anyway, so she has that, and she's going to use that with her computer in Zoom. And I'm going to use Zoom ISO to bring her video into the RØDECaster video. So essentially it'll be probably using the... I swear I just had it over there. I don't know where it went. Well, I'll have to find that because I need that. The little Ultra Studio monitor 3G, the Blackmagic little gray box. And that is going to let me get the video feed out of Zoom, Zoom ISO, into the RØDECaster video. This is all, actually the other way I could do it is NDI. I'll do a quick test beforehand to see if it's better over NDI or that. That's interesting. I wonder, well, this is gonna be a good video. So I should probably actually set this up today. So we can do a little bit of that on the stream right now and get the audio scenes and stuff working. But that'll be how I am gonna run her stream. Zoom ISO is cool, but a bit pricey, sort of. So the other trick with Zoom ISO is that you can get it without buying Zoom ISO, which is also something I should talk about in this video that I clearly need to make, which is the Zoom events. So the trick is you go buy Zoom events, but instead of buying the monthly plan, you buy, where is it? You buy, there it is, pay per attendee, 50 attendees. So it's $125, and this is an annual license, and then you don't ever use the event feature, and instead this gives you access to Zoom ISO. So essentially $10 a month, which on top of your Zoom. So you have to have a Zoom plan, whatever plan you want, and then you add this, and this should give you that feature. So that's how my account is set up right now. I hope they didn't change that. Let Your Nerd Be Here says they did change it. You can't purchase individual license any longer. You have to purchase a Zoom Webinar Plus. Are you sure it's not also part of the events? Let's see, what's the cheapest way to get this? Oh, Webinar Plus. If Webinar Plus includes it, that's even better. That's only $100. Last time I did this, it was events, but I will confirm that before I include this in the video. And you can do events as well. Okay. But yeah, if the Webinar Plus has it, that's even better. $100 is not bad. Yeah, I can't pronounce names anymore. There's no capitalization. I don't know where the word starts. Is it Mount Helisi or is it M. Thelisi? I don't know. Is everybody experiencing the choppy video on USB output of the RØDECaster video? I ended up using a third-party capture for my Zoom and Teams. Weird. No, I actually just did a 5-hour stream, webinar from the USB output of the RØDECaster video just fine. I would double check the cable and the hub that's plugged into, because if it is a cable that doesn't support high-speed USB, it'll probably try to downgrade it to lower speed USB. Or if it's going through too many hubs, that can also affect it. So check first with the cable that came in the box, which is, yeah, it is. Oh, that camera is really dark. It's got Rode on it. It's a very thick cable. That's the one that came in the box, and double check with that first directly into a computer before you give up or find or look for alternatives. Because I'm guessing that's the problem. Let's make that camera a little brighter. Oh yeah, also this. Double check that the frame rate as well of the inputs. Good call. I would say that people don't usually end up describing this as choppy when that's the case. I guess maybe you could. Yeah, if your cameras are set to like 25 frames a second, but your capture card is like 60, then, or vice versa, then yeah, things can get weird because you'll end up with some frames will be doubled up when they don't match like that. Andre says, I use RØDECaster video through USB for Teams calls daily, in and out, no issues. Yeah, I'm guessing it's a cable issue. Where will Lily get her vegan donut? So she's in Austin, and it turns out there's lots of vegan options in Austin, including vegan donuts. So no worries. But I think I might also get one. And because I'm going to be bringing her in as a remote guest into the RØDECaster, I'm going to also be able to just be on camera myself. So is OBS Ninja a good substitute for Zoom ISO? Yes, it's decent. So the main difference, I'm just like writing this video script right now in my head, aren't I? The main difference between something like OBS or Video.Ninja or Zoom ISO is that the output from Video.Ninja, so if you're not familiar with this, this is what I'm talking about. It's kind of hard to understand from just the name of it. So let me see if I can actually do this. Oh, this looks like some new features. So to get anybody can join this room now if you have the password or this link, which you do on my screen. So don't do that, please. If you join this room, then it'll in a browser you'll be able to just select whatever webcam. So that's great from the viewer, from the guest perspective, and then from your perspective in the studio, you have a link here. So you can grab this link, and it's made to work with OBS. So you can paste this into OBS and capture the web page. But if you want to use it with something like the RØDECaster video, which doesn't have a web page capture, then you need to turn the web page into a video output. So again, a couple ways you can do it. Either open this up in another browser window and full screen this on a monitor, and now as soon as somebody joins that link, it'll pop up here. Or you could again go into you could bring that back into OBS and output through the deck link card as well. So both ways work. Is it better than than Zoom ISO? I would say Zoom ISO is probably more reliable and more stable just because it's Zoom. It's made to handle choppy connections, things like that. Video.Ninja definitely does do okay with that. Certainly a lot cheaper, so there's that. But I would say both are good ways to do it. We tried using Video.Ninja with Director 1 Mini to bring in guests for podcast recording. I have not tried the web page capture in the Director 1, if that's what you're asking about. That would be interesting. I don't want to go through all that work. That's why I got the YoloBox Ultra. It's true. So the YoloBox Ultra basically has this whole thing built in where you don't have to fuss with any of it. In the YoloBox, you say like add a remote guest. They get an email, they click a link, and then they show up in the YoloBox. So it's like all built in. Far, far easier, for sure. For sure. Brian says, any recommendations for a cheap 4K camera with HDMI out for use with an ATEM Mini Pro? Well, 4K would be pointless. Yeah, somebody else said that. Yeah. The ATEM Mini is going to be capped out at HD anyway, 1080. So if you are going to get a 4K camera, you would not be using 4K output for the ATEM. You would only be downscaling it anyway. You can get a 4K camera so you can record in 4K, sure, but like the ATEM is going to be taking a 1080 feed out of it anyway. So define cheap. Yes, Matt also says please define cheap. The the do you mean cheap as in like $100, or are you talking about cheap as in like, I would say there's pretty good options around the $500 to $800 price point for cameras with HDMI out and good lenses. Yeah, ZV-E10 is an option. The other Sony ZV cameras, actually, if you want a good deal on one, I have one in my little shop link down below. Did I put that link into the description? I don't know if I did today. Let's make sure. It'll be there by the end of the stream anyway. But I'll drop it in the chat again. I am selling a couple of my little cameras. So like these are actually a really good option for that. And these you can find for like, I think they're like 800-ish new. And there's a couple different models depending on if you want a zoom lens or a fixed lens. And I am selling a couple of these for a good discount in the link I just dropped in the chat. These are a good option. The Sony a6400, if you want an older option that's still quite good, you might be able to find those for under 500 is the price point. Great. So if you're looking for something with a good lens that's under 500, your best bet is probably going to be used gear. And it can be actually quite, several generations old. The sensors on all the cameras, for the last 5 or 6 years are all very good. And like I'm the camera that Lily is using for her main shot is, I want to say, from 2017 or 18, and her overhead is a6400, and those are both still fine cameras. A lot of the newer cameras add features that you won't need for a fixed shot in a live stream studio. So you can do very well with used gear under 500. Okay, you are looking for something that records 4K on camera. So if you're trying to get 4K out of the camera, that's going to bump the price a lot. So not needing 4K out will open up your options a lot. So yeah, there's the ZV-1, ZV-E10, ZV, or Sony a6400. Those are all great cameras that you can probably find discounted. And they, I think, all do 4K internal recording. Yeah. Oh yes, if it's an older camera, check if there's a record time limit that applies to HDMI out. One of the things to look for on the older cameras is either record limits, first of all, because some of them will cap out at 30 minutes. Some of them will overheat if they're recording for longer than that. And the other one is sometimes the cameras, I think this is true with the a6400. Actually, don't quote me on that. I think it's true with one of the Lumix cameras. Some of the cameras, if you record, the HDMI out will be disabled. So check for that kind of thing. Those are like the things to look for if you're looking for older cameras. But and then yes, of course, get a dummy battery. Why is there cat hair flying around? $6,400 and ZV-E10 have the same sensor. Yeah, that's one of the cool things about the 6400 is that it's, even though it's old, they've still been using that sensor in newer cameras. So ZV-E10, A6400, all great options. Phil's Treehouse uses A6400, 6700, and the ZV-E10. A lot of the 4K cameras disable HDMI out when recording. Yeah, so do double check that. Could I use a deck link to output individual guests from Video Ninja guests to input on an ATEM? Through OBS, yes. So you need to take the web page because Video Ninja outputs a web page. It just gives you a URL that you need to go put into something. So that can be captured with OBS, and then OBS can output to the deck link card or the Ultra Studio dongle. Technicom Media, what's the max number of simultaneous remote guests the YoloBox can support? That's a good question. I don't know if I've ever actually checked. I would assume probably I'm guessing they probably don't like actually limit it, but the performance will probably go down if you add more than a few. I'm curious if Matt has any experience since he actually uses that feature a ton. I would guess 2 is when I would stop trusting it. Matt says 4. Okay. Michael says, "Are you no longer using your ATEM Mini Pro Extreme?" Not really. So the for this stuff I'm using, well, it's down in the rack below here, but I'm using the big 4K, not 4K, 4ME ATEM. So SDI, all SDI, 40 inputs. It's crazy, right? It's actually several years old now, but you know, it's going to work for a very long time. And that's what I use for this because I have a bunch of stuff connected to it. And it's very convenient when I'm doing videos of stuff like this to be able to, instead of plugging my cameras directly in here, I plug in outputs from the ATEM so I can copy things into this. Obviously, not everybody needs that. But I will say the Lily's studio upstairs is a much more like normal setup of, you know, a couple cameras, computer, Apple TV. It's actually got a lot of inputs too. Main camera, overhead camera, webcam on the cats, or another camera on the cats, Apple TV to be able to wirelessly screen share, and I have a roving camera that I can pull up with my iPhone and get like a behind the scenes shots into there. So that's 5, and then OBS for chat. So 6 sources mainly. And I had her on the ATEM Mini Extreme for a long time, and I actually just switched over to the RØDECaster Video, not the S, but the big one. And for me doing like workshops and stuff where I'm really just doing a simple, you know, 1 camera and computer screen, maybe an iPad. Also, I've now switched over to the RØDECaster Video basically. So, yeah, I do still have one Extreme. Okay, it's not entirely true. I do still use the ATEM Mini ISO, SDI ISO, which is the SDI version of the ATEM Mini. And that's streaming this stream right now. So my big giant ATEM doesn't have a streaming encoder in it. And it outputs to an ATEM Mini SDI, which has a streaming encoder. And that's what's actually streaming this to YouTube right now. And then I also have an ATEM Mini Extreme up there, but it's for all those things. So all those things output into the ATEM Mini Extreme that's up there so that I can show the outputs of those switchers on the stream. But it's mostly just a video matrix up for that. Do I also use it as a recorder? No, I primarily record with the HyperDeck. So if you look at you can actually see it recording right now. This is the HyperDeck Mini, and this is, I would say, my main recorder at this point. One of the reasons I like it is that, and it's recording right now, I have it set up to auto record my live streams. Not that I've done anything with those, but I figure, hey, I could at some point chop them up into segments. Maybe if AI gets good enough, I can do it automatically. Anyway, the reason I do this instead of the ATEM Mini is because this can record straight to a network drive. So this is actually recording to a cloud store, which is got an SSD in it, and the cloud store is a network drive that I can pull up. And so if I go to, let's see if it's not mounted right now. CloudPod. So this is the little, you can plug in a couple drives to it. So this is my CloudPod, and I have a recordings folder, and here are all the live streams. So looks like I set this up in June, and it's just been auto recording all the live streams. And here's the one that's being recorded right now. Started at, updated at 9:30, started at 9:01. There's yesterday's members live stream doing the accounting, last week's November 30th. So when I do recorded videos, like here is, what's this? Oh, that was a thing for work. This was my Zoom recording, or my, not Zoom, my Rode recording. When did I do well, I don't know where it went. Anyway, when I do recordings for videos, I will record onto this, and then like it's convenient because as soon as I hit stop, it's already there, and I can just start editing or copy it somewhere. So it's like way faster than dealing with swapping hard drives around and stuff. So that's why I've been doing it. It's been really nice. For someone new to the YoloBox, which model would you recommend? Remote guest integration is required. The Extreme is big, so if size is not a concern, then the Extreme is like the top of the line model right now. Let me. I have a camera on that. There it is. Oh, it got kind of off-centered. Need to adjust my PTZ camera locations. So that's the YoloBox Extreme. It's, you can see compared to the ATEM, it's pretty big. So it's wider than the ATEM Mini and about the same width as the RØDECaster Video. That's their top of the line model. And I would say if size is not a concern, get that. Otherwise, the Ultra is probably the next best one I would get. I like the size of the Ultra better, personally. And yes, stay away from the Pro. The processor is a significant step down in the Pro, so the Ultra has a good processor. So don't get the Pro New anymore. If you have it and it's working, great, but I wouldn't get the Pro New anymore. My ATEM Mini Pro records about 75 minutes and the file is 4 gigs max. Why is your last half hour already 7 gigs? Because it's not an ATEM. It's the HyperDeck. So the HyperDeck is set to record at H.264 high, which I guess actually should be about the same as the ATEM. But yeah, it is already 7-8 gigs. What is the bit rate on that? Let's see if I can find information about the stream. It says it is 18 megabits a second is the bit rate it's recording, which is definitely higher than like the 6 that the ATEM would be recording at. So that's why, because it's recording at 18 megabits a second. Oh, Anthony has a new channel. Good to see you. Thanks for joining. Speaking of HyperDeck, have you had access to check out the HyperDeck Shuttle 4K Pro? No, I have not. I forgot the deal of that. What's the deal with the HyperDeck Shuttle 4K? Is it... right. The one with the screen. No, I haven't checked that out yet. I can see this being really useful for replay stuff, though. Like manual replay. It's a cool looking box. Okay, let me scroll back. I know I missed some chats. I need help purchasing the right computer. I've picked, but I'm sure it's not the right one. Apple Mac Mini Desktop, M4 chip, 16 gigs memory, 512 SSD. I mean, I'm still using a M2 Mac, and it's fine. That's what I'm using right now for this. Not that it's streaming. It is running OBS though, just for the chats. And M4s are great. I would say my biggest regrets when I've been buying Macs is getting a hard drive that's been too small. You can't upgrade them later. And 512 is absolutely the lowest I would go. I would probably recommend going up to a terabyte. I did buy a 256 gig the first time the M1 came out, and then I regretted it. It was too small. So I would say consider a 1 terabyte SSD. And if you're planning out it being like your main computer for everything you ever do, just go 2 terabytes so you don't regret it. That's what I would do. Which 4K ISO recording switcher is considered the best? 4K ISO, asking an awful lot. How much money are you willing to spend? I guess that's the question, because 4K ISO recording is not going to be cheap. The YoloBox Extreme can do it with some caveats. There's a limit to how many of the, it's not all the inputs that it can record at the same time. There's a limit to how many 4K sources it can record, but it can do that. The other way to do ISO recording that I would say is probably the best is actually breaking it up into parts. So if you get a bunch of hyperdeck recorders, then each hyperdeck will record one 4K signal, and you can run your cameras through those into whatever. And then those can all start and stop in sync, and you can put timecode into them. That I would say is the best. Photo Joseph does this, I know, for his studio, and I've done it a couple times. I have a couple of them, but the best I would say is that, and the reason is because those are going to be more reliable. They can record to the network, to network drives. They can record. They're going to be more stable than something like the YoloBox. It is going to be a lot more expensive and a lot more wires to run, but yeah. Oh, good tips on the laptop as well. Up the storage, yeah. Buy it refurbished on the Apple site and put the extra money into RAM and SSD. That is a good idea. Yep. Apple storage tax isn't worth it, especially on 2 terabyte. Get an external SSD and an SSD. I feel like for me the 1 terabyte is where it's worth it for me. I agree that the hop from 1 to 2 is really expensive, and you might be better off than at with an external SSD, but under 1 terabyte, I feel like is asking for trouble later. So, yeah. Matt says, I love the Mini M4 Pro, 2 terabytes and 64 gigs of RAM. The reason to get the Pro chip is you get Thunderbolt 5. Oh yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Let the camera record the 4K is the cheap way. Yes, that is the cheap way to get 4K ISO recording for sure. Oh, I forgot that they did this. HyperDeck 8K. That's right. I forgot they added the ability to split that into for 4K recordings. So that is probably the best now, yes. That is this one, which is not cheap. The 8K recorder has 4 SDI inputs in order to get the 8K. But they added a mode where it can record those as separate 4K videos. So you can essentially use it as a 4K recorder in one box. But yes, on the computer question, I have actually been having very good luck editing videos and stuff with an SSD attached over USB, as long as the SSD isn't trash. And I have very unfortunately found that the new, which one was it? No, I think it is the T7. I should check this drive. I just sent one back. One of my Samsung drives just like started writing at 2 megabytes a second, like insane. Like it just came to a grinding halt, and it was only like 6 months old. And it was a 4 terabyte external drive. I was copying a file to it. I was like, what is going on? And I Googled around, and it turns out a lot of people are having that problem with the 4 terabyte version specifically. And I'm very upset about it because it was not a cheap drive. But I sent it in for repair. They're going to send back a new one probably. It's still being evaluated technically. But That's a bummer. Yeah. OWC drives are the way to go. The Samsung have become not reliable. Yeah, I'm not going to buy a Samsung again. I am happy that I have the Samsung T5 drives that work with the ATEM and the RØDECaster, but I'm not going to buy any more Samsung drives. Yeah, if it's a laptop, Apple storage tax can be worth paying to avoid sacrificing a port and to not bring an extra thing. For a stationary Mac, external storage is fine. For a laptop, it's a hassle. I kind of agree on that. New Zealand and Australia are restricting power banks to 2. This is on airlines, I assume. Do you mean like you can only have 2 power banks on a plane? Friend suggested taking Sony NPF batteries with the converter plate. I would look into their restrictions because if they're intending to limit you to 2 batteries, I don't know if they're going to be happy with a bunch of NPF batteries instead as an alternative. Because some of the in the US, it's limited by number of like total kilowatt hours capacity. So and single battery size. So it's like 26400 is like the max, the biggest battery you can take, and I forget the total number you can have. But look into the details of that because I don't think necessarily just taking a bunch of small batteries will be allowed either. Samsung T7s have been terrible. Yeah, that's just it's a bummer. Matt says I have 34 terabyte OWC Envoy Ultras with a customer. I never had an issue. That's a good testimonial. Which Samsung drives cause the problem? The T7, specifically the 4 terabyte, but I also have a 2 terabyte here, and I should double check that it's still any good now. Where was I? CSD Global says, oh, I can hear the wind starting now. Has anybody tried webcams over Cat5 using a powered USB Cat5 converter? If so, how many webcams do you think I could get down to Cat5 with a USB splitter? I have not tried that. That's a good question. It'll probably depend on the webcam because they're going to have different bandwidth requirements, but the Cat5 USB converter will have like a maximum bandwidth that it can handle, and that will be how many cameras you can put on it. So, oh no, using a few 4 terabyte T7s. Well, I have bad news for you. At some point their write speed is going to tank, and they're going to be totally useless. So I would just switch off of those as soon as you can. Only 2 power banks, maximum of 160 watt hours. So I would say if you can get, yeah, if the limit is the watt hours, then any number of smaller batteries is going to raise a red flag to them too if you're going over that. So maybe bring a solar panel so you can recharge them. I don't know. In Plain Sight says, do you know much about the DJI transmission variant? What are your thoughts on it, and can it send audio both ways? Ooh, I don't. I've never used it. Does it have bidirectional audio? I wouldn't be surprised if it does. I haven't even looked at this. Sorry. Russian roulette with the T7s for sure. T7 is not the T7 Shield. Wish they would have done a different name for the T7 Shield. That is a naming. Yes, that is always a challenge. I can see the list of NDI feeds in the GoStream Duet 8, but I can't see the NDI video. Help me troubleshoot. Probably it's a format that it doesn't support. It like NDI HX versus NDI is probably what's going on. It's one of the confusing things about NDI is that like the discovery doesn't filter on the video format. So something that only supports NDI HX will still like show the NDI, regular NDI feeds in the list, but it won't be able to play them if you try to select it. I'm guessing that's what it is. In Plain Sight says you can take two 99 watt hours, but can carry two 160s with permission. That's cool. Two 160s. I've never even, how big? Those must be big, right? 160. What is a 160? $288. So here's a 192. Yeah, that's a chunk. It's a chunk of battery. So it'll be a little bit smaller than that probably. Oh, speaking of power, I've been having fun with my electrical panel. I had when my electrician was here last week, I had him put in a, where is it? I had him put in a low voltage panel and conduit under my breaker panel. So this is, he put that in, ran a conduit and an outlet down there through the wall. I cut open the wall under there to give him room to work. And then ran a conduit from there up to the corner here so that I can actually now wire up the circuit sensors, the outlet sensors for each individual circuit on the panel. And I have started working on it, about halfway done, and I need to finish that today. But it's very cool to be able to see how much power things are using now. So I've got the server rack, which is running things like the home Proxmox server and all the network switches and PoE for the cameras that are around here, and the NVR, no, the NAS is in here as well. So a bunch of hard drives. That's all 370 watts, pretty consistently. Ignore the first one that was, I plugged it in to the wrong port and it registered some crazy numbers, but yeah, it's been hovering around 360. And then in this room, the outlets that are on the pink wall behind me and to the right of me are on a single circuit, and those are that's basically like the bulk of the studio gear. So that's my ATEM. The cameras are all powered from the PoE switch in the rack. All the lights around here. So everything basically for this set. And that is, again, ignore. Actually, no, this is real. Why was this so much higher? But anyway, so this was like essentially idle, which is kind of a lot. And I should probably trim some things down when I'm not using it. But when I got in here just before the show, I turned on the lights, turned on, I guess it's mostly lights that are normally off. And I just realized one of my lights is off. The one behind me is still off. And yeah, it bumps up to about 760 from 730. So that's this. And then I've got the other wall across there, which is like where my office desk is, has a couple outlets. And what is that spike? That must be, what is that? It's not the lights over there, because the lights are plugged into this outlet, which has its own circuit, because I was originally running a heater off of that. So that's the light being idle, and that's when it turned on when I came in this morning. And then this one's not connected yet, but that's like the rest of the outlets in the garage. And then upstairs, I've got a couple as well, which are, some of these are not connected yet. Kitchen living room is like general lights. Should be able to see when I made coffee this morning. That's the kettle turning on. Spikes up to 1500 watts, and then I have the other half of the kitchen, which is where the like air fryer is. So that was air fryer and microwave, reaching 2800 watts, which is a lot. The fridge, you see the fridge cycling up and down. That's, you know, opening the fridge. So it has to recover the heat or the cool. And I haven't connected these yet, but about halfway done with all the circuits. It's pretty cool. It's pretty fun. And I'm going to do that, or maybe have my electrician do it, because it's kind of a lot of work for the rest of the panels once I get them in also. Your server rack is pulling more than my whole house currently. Jeez, yeah. It's good to live in Portland where the climate is mild. Otherwise, I think your electric bill would be very high. I agree. It already is kind of high, but no, it's pretty mild here. I don't actually even have the heaters on right now, because it's now as soon as it drops below like 40 is when I have to turn on the heater. But Aaron can heat his house with the server rack. I wish this was easier to do, because this has really pointed out a lot of where there's a lot of heat or cool losses. Like, I wish I could take the heat that this server rack generates and then pipe it upstairs where I need the heat, instead of running an air conditioner in this room that pumps the heat outside. Which is, yeah. But at least I did do some of that technically with the heat pump water heater, because now the server rack room, which is, where is it? The server rack, you can see it in this one. So the garage closet is that one. Let me take off some of these other ones. Don't need that one. I don't need that one. So this drop in temperature is because essentially all the heat that those servers generated got turned into heat for the hot water with the heat pump water heater that's in that same room. And that drops the temperature in the server room, which is very convenient. So I got some of that gain over there, but I wish I could leverage the rest of these heat generating things for that. Punch a vent hole and add a fan to take the heat and send it to another room. The only problem with that is that technically the ceiling in this is the fire separation between the garage, the lower and the upper, and punching a hole in that would not be a good idea. If you had a swimming pool, you could have a cooling loop. Oh yeah, that's true. We do have a hot tub, but it's far away. It would not. It does make me want to figure out, like, there's not enough room. There's not enough physical space to do it here, but it would be very cool to like have designed a more intentional like place where the server rack can go, that then that heat gets turned into something that gets used elsewhere. But anyway. IT never gets old. I just uploaded the video to YouTube, and in the description there was a tag for A/B testing. What is that? Oh yeah, that's a new that is a new feature. Relatively new. They were testing it for a long time, but now when you they've been rolling it out slowly, you can put in 2 different titles, like alternate titles and thumbnails into your video, and then YouTube will show different titles to different people randomly. And then after, I think, like a couple of days, whichever one got the better conversion rate, it'll just lock into that one. I've done it on a couple of videos. Maybe I just don't get enough views for it to be statistically significant, but I have not found, yeah, so here's one. A/B test completed. I uploaded 2 different versions, and then it ran the A/B test. Let's see, does it let me see the results? Yes. So here's the test. One with my face, one with no face, and it counts watch time after the person clicked that thumbnail. So it won by 3%, which I feel like is not that significant. So and that's kind of how most of the tests I've run have turned out. They've been about 3 to 5% different. So I'm guessing with channels that are like much more get many more views, because this was total of 12K views, not nothing. But with a video that gets 1 million views, I'm sure the conversion rate has a bigger impact. Yeah, exactly. Unless you're LTT, the A/B testing isn't going to generate data. In plain sight, thanks for all the membership gifts. We have 10 new channel members thanks to In Plain Sight. Welcome new members. YouTube picks them at random. I don't know what the criteria are, but congratulations. If you are a member, make sure you go click through to the member section on YouTube. There's a tab down there somewhere, I forget where. And in there is a link to Discord, where you will be able to join the Discord and chat with other channel members and me throughout the week, and see my BTS photos of whatever's going on during the week. And the next accounting live stream, which will be in a month at the beginning of January, first Saturday of January. Go through all my books again for December and see how I did. How good is the webcam video quality connected to the RØDECaster video? I would say good, perfectly fine. No complaints. And again, I just did like a 5-hour long stream with it last week, and it worked great. Fire separation is needed only if it was used as a garage for cars. Well, it was, which is why it was in the plans as that. But it's also like, because, so we're living up there right now, but I'm not going to be living there soon. So it's actually going to be technically a separate unit. So I feel like even if it's not even technically required, it's a good idea. So. Cool. Okay. We should probably actually wrap this up a little early today, because there's an event I want to go to. It's happening soon. So yeah, instead of doing the RØDECaster video setup live right now, I was going to go and configure this. I think what I'm going to do is do this as a video instead, and actually go through and set this up. I need to steal one of these inputs, probably the Apple TV, turn it into either an NDI feed, or bring the deck link or the Ultra Studio card and get it set up for Zoom ISO in the RØDECaster video, so that I can run LilyStream tomorrow. And it'd be fun? I can do this as a members only stream tomorrow. That'll be fun. I'll do that. I'll do a BTS camera of the setup in what's her studio, where I will be sitting. And I'll just do like a BTS stream. It will be probably like, I'll talk for 5 minutes to get set up, but then it'll be while her stream is running. So let's do that. I'll schedule that. I think it's at, well, here, I'll drop a link to her channel. Her stream is going to be at 4:30 for me. 4:30 Portland time, 6:30 Oh, I hope she did that right. 6:30 Austin time. I think that sounds right. And I will probably also have a donut. I'm gonna try to get a donut tomorrow, as long as it's not like pouring rain. All up for that. Count me in. I'm up for BTS. Great. Great. Can WLG Live and myself fly over for lunch? That's a long flight for just a, just a lunch, but yes. Sure. If you fly over here, I'm happy to meet up. Come hang out at the Portland airport. Cool. All right. We're gonna wrap this up. Thanks for joining. I need to get the new members in the credits, but thanks for the questions. Thanks to the extreme supporters, Larry, Andre, Kevin, and Marcin. And I'm gonna call In Plain Sight an honorary extreme supporter, given all of the membership gifts. So yeah, thanks to all the channel members for your support. It is how I keep this channel going, as you will know by the members accounting stream monthly now. So if you are a member, make sure you join that and see where all the money goes. Speaking of, I need to decide what's the next like big piece of gear I'm going to be saving up for this. So that's another thing we can talk about on the member stream. We will see members tomorrow during the BTS of Lily's stream with the RØDECaster video and Zoom. Cross your fingers if that goes well. I'm sure it'll be fine. And with that, see you all again next week. Same time, same place. We're coming up to the end of the year real fast, but yeah. So be a Happy New Year stream pretty soon, I think. All right. See you all again next time. Thanks and goodbye.